Hey everybody, Nick Silivertis here with another Embrace the Grind YouTube video, and today I'm going to be going into the top 5 positional ranks for each position of fantasy baseball season. Now before you guys do anything, we really appreciate if you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button so we can get more content out to you every single day, every single week. We want to get you everything you need for this upcoming baseball season. So the first position I want to go over with you guys is catcher. And I'm going to give you the top 3 catchers for this fantasy baseball season. Now, your league may vary depending on scoring, but definitely these 3 catchers will be at the top of every one of your lists. So we're going to be with number 1. Number 1 is JT Realmuto. Now, JT Realmuto had a bit of an underwhelming season last year. He was good, but not great. He wasn't really what we all expected with Bryce Harper joining the team and him joining the Phillies. But I expect a huge bounce back from him this year, and I expect him to reach the 30 home run mark and at least reach 40 doubles. The second player that you should be picking up as your catcher is Gary Sanchez. Now, Gary Sanchez, he's very frustrating. Everybody sees the potential with Mr. Sanchez, and everybody sees the fact that he should be a top 10 guy. He should be a top 10 guy every year regardless. He hasn't stayed healthy. He's struggled with that. He's also struggled with his defense, meaning he needs to leave the lineup once in a while. Now, this is going to happen from time to time, but Gary Sanchez, with his power and with his upside, is definitely a viable option. And the third catcher is Mr. Yasmani Grandal. Yes, Mr. Yasmani Grandal had a great season last year with the Milwaukee Brewers, and I expect him to continue his success this season. I think he really found his swing. I think he found his consistency, and I think he should be a great asset this season. Now we're going to move on to first base. Now, as a sort of a disclaimer, I'm not going to add Cody Bellinger onto first base because most of the time he does end up playing the outfield, even though he will have his first base eligibility. So the first player I want to introduce is Freddie Freeman. Now, Freddie Freeman is constantly a top player in the MLB. Now, he may be losing a little bit of his power, but I still expect Freddie Freeman to be a very, very big asset for anybody who's able to take him in this year's fantasy baseball draft. I think he really is a cog in that lineup with Acuna, with Alves, and now they're adding Marcell Ozuna. I think the lineup should be stout. I think it should be strong, and I think it's something that, could be really, really effective. Coming in number 2, we have actually kind of a surprise maybe for some, but Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso had a great year last year. That's not of a debate. He was great. He hit a lot of home runs. I do expect that number to come down a little bit. Hopefully he can not be his home run strikeout. I'm kind of expecting a second year, kind of like an Aaron Judge that he had, a little more. Add a little extra part of your game, add some walks, add some control. And if he does that, I think he's going to have a great season. And, number 3, I think I'm going to put this one for this one's kind of a tough one because, with the Astros and their whole scandal, not really sure how good Yuri Gurriel was last year. So I think I'm going to put this one as DJ LeMahieu. Now, DJ LeMahieu has eligibility at 3 positions, second base, first base, and third base. So DJ LeMahieu will be playing almost every day. He will get eligibility, and I think he should be your number 3 first baseman this season. But I needed to add an honorable mention. Paul Goldschmidt is an honorable mention. If he could play the way he played down the stretch last year, all year long, you're going to see one historic season. Now, coming in at second base, we have 3 players who 2 of them have some dual eligibilities here. So the first one I'm going to go over is, number 1 is Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres might be playing a lot of shortstop this year. Really not sure yet what the Yankees are going to do with him and with Mr. LeMahieu. So Gleyber Torres is definitely number 1. That's an easy choice. Ketel Marte had a great breakout last year. I think he really found a niche at second base. I think he could have another big year this year. And he's kind of anchoring an Arizona Diamondbacks lineup that really is not hitting heavy at the moment. So then at third, we got Whit Merrifield. And I choose Whit Merrifield over Altuve because, call it crazy, I just don't think Altuve is going to make it through the season. I think there's going to be an injury or some suspension or something. He won't make it through the season. So I definitely think we should give that to Whit Merrifield. He's going to steal a lot of bases. He's a fast guy, good contact, doesn't strike out too much. I think Whit Merrifield would be a very solid second base prospect. Also, someone to keep an eye on is Starlin Castro now with Washington. He could be a really, really good player. We're just not really sure how it's going to work. And Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil, really super utility guy, but he is somebody who will hit the ball almost every time he's up. This flying squirrel is going to have a great year this year with the Mets. So keep an eye on those 2. So coming in at third base, I'm going to start with Nolan Arenado. Nolan Arenado seems pretty unhappy in this situation, but one thing he is very happy about is his abilities. He is a very, very good He's a very good player. I think if he leaves Colorado, I think he'll be an even better player. But I think Colorado is where he will be for the season, and I think that's somewhere where he can have a lot of success. Coming in at number 2, we got Mr. Anthony Rendon. Now, Anthony Rendon, when he has protection in the lineup, and we saw that with Bryce Harper in 2017, I want to say, Rendon is a outstanding player. He didn't have much protection last year, and he had a career year. He was fantastic. He's really come into his own, and pairing him in that lineup with Trout is something, can't wait to see it. Rendon should definitely be pretty high on your draft boards, and if he's not, then you're doing something wrong. And third is actually a bit of a surprise for me. I'm actually going to put Chris Bryant here. Yes, Chris Bryant. Now, I know a lot of you saying, oh, what about Rafael Devers, maybe Moustakas, Bregman. Look, I think a lot of these Astro players are going to have a really tough time getting through the year, whether it's them being hit by pitches, them struggling at the plate, or whatever it might be. That's kind of what I see happening. So and with Devers, they kind of broke down their lineup, where Devers is now their number 1 to 2 hitting option. With you can kind of give it Benintendi had a bad year last year. You can kind of give it to Xander Bogaerts, who had a fantastic year last year, but that's kind of what I see going on for third base. I think Chris Bryant is actually going to be really good this year. I expect a huge bounce back considering he'll be healthy. So coming in at shortstop, this is kind of a tough one because we have guys who have kind of, dual eligibility, like Gleyber Torres has dual eligibility, so does Bregman, but these 3 players are pretty solid on. So the number 1 player I'd say for me is Trey Turner. What? Trey Turner? Really? Yes, Trey Turner. I think Trey Turner, if he stays healthy for all 162, I think you're looking at 40 steals, 20 home runs, and a hell of a lot of hits. I think he's going to have at least 200 hits this year. I think he's just going to be fantastic. I think Trey Turner, he steals bases. He'll get you a point somehow. He gets you a point every game somehow, and he's definitely worth the end in your lineup. Number 2, I'm going to put it to Trevor Story, and this was kind of tough ranking Trevor Story in my next hitter. But Trevor Story just seems to, he seems to get better every year. He does. He's getting better and better, and I think this year he's going to probably run at MVP. That's a little bit of a bold take, but that's what I think. And number 3, I'm actually going to go with Francisco Lindor. Now, I put him just below Story because of the power numbers. I think even though Frankie hits switch, he's a switch hitter, I still see Trevor Story hitting above 300, above 40 home runs. I think he's going to have a great year. So it's not really a knock on Lindor. This is more of a praise to Mr. Story. Now, utility is kind of a hard category because you can really put anybody there, but I'm going to talk about DHs. And if you guys are in leagues that need DHs, there's a couple of DHs you can kind of slide in. So the first one I'm going to put in is Carlos Santana. I think Carlos Santana is going to be a good DH. I think he's going to have another solid year. He's a good player. He's just a straight-up good player, and I expect big things from him. Number 2, I want to put Nelson Cruz. Now, I did not expect Nelson Cruz to have as big of a year as he did after kind of settling down the year before. I didn't think he was going to have that big of a year, but he did. He was great, and that's just it for me, and I just see him having a great year. And kind of the third is a bit of a surprise. Yeah, I know I really want to say Jorge Soler, but he's more of an outfield prospect. So we're going to go with Edwin Encarnacion wherever, Edwin just seems to hit 30 home runs. He does. He seems to hit 30 home runs. Last year was kind of a lost year for him. It was a very unusual year. It's not the kind of year he's known to have. But I definitely think he's going to be solid. I definitely think he's going to have a big impact. And if you need a DH, that's where I'd be looking. Okay, so now that we're going on to outfield, I'm going to do something a little different. Now, the outfield, as a lot of you know, you need 3 to 5 outfield slots depending on your league, size, the way you do everything. So I'm going to go with 5 guys. Number 1 is easily Mike Trout. Mike Trout should be your number 1 pick in every league, every draft. Simple as that. Mike Trout's the best. Number 2, I'm going to go with Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger had a great year last year. I expect him to have more constant success this year. And if you guys don't know, Cody Bellinger kind of hit around 400 for the first couple months and hit about 200 for the next couple months. So I think he's going to have a more even season. I think he may not hit as many home runs, but he's going to have a more even season. And I expect actually a very good year from him. Number 3, I'm going to go with Mookie Betts. Now, Mookie Betts with Cody in that lineup could be something to reckon with. They're going to be pretty good, and I think we definitely got to keep a watch out for them. They should have a very strong year, and that's what I expect from them. Number 4, Ronald Acuna. Ronald Acuna had a great rookie year, and his second year just showed how much better he is. Shows how great he is. This guy's going to be a perennial all-star year after year. He's the NL's Mike Trout. No one's as good as Mike Trout, I know that, but he's the NL's Mike Trout, and he's a very, very good player, and when he gets better, he's just going to get better every year. It's just the kind of guy he is. And finally is Juan Soto. Juan Soto, young kid, even younger than Acuna. He's just an all-around great ball player, and I think he's going to have another year leading this Washington Nationals team to the playoff. So now that we've finished hitters, I'm going to go over to the pitchers, and I'm going to go to the pitching side of things because, let's be honest, you're in a jam. These guys can either make you or they'll break you, and it's the pitchers. So number one, I'm going to go with Garrett Cole, and this is only because I think Garrett Cole has the highest strikeout numbers, because I know most leagues get extra points for strikeouts. He has the highest strikeout percentage, highest strikeout numbers, and I just think he's on a team that's going to win a lot, so I think that's a huge part of it. Number two, I'm going to go with Verlander. Verlander's going to have a lot of strikeouts as well. I'm kind of waiting on the year Verlander kind of dips. I thought it might have been last year, but it wasn't. It could be this year. You never know. But if he puts up a year like last year, Verlander should definitely be your number two pitcher. Number three is easily Max Scherzer. Now, I know some of you are like, DeGrom? We'll get there. He's not there yet. And I put Scherzer ahead because Scherzer had more strikeouts than DeGrom last year, and he got hurt. And Scherzer's just an all-around great fantasy guy. He's a great pitcher, great leader. He's a great player. I think he's better for fantasy aspects because he will go 7 and get you 7+ strikeouts every game. And he doesn't get blown up. He doesn't. Now every pitcher has a game where maybe they'll get bombed, but it doesn't happen to guys like Scherzer. Number 4. Now I know you were thinking it's DeGrom. It's not DeGrom. I'm sorry, Mets fans. I'm sorry. It's not DeGrom. Number 4 is actually a bit of a surprise. I'm putting number 4 as Walker Buehler. He showed a lot last year. He was one of the first players ever to have 2 games of 16+ strikeouts and complete games, and that's unheard of. I think he's in store for a massive year, and I think he's going to be great this season. And, DeGrom is a very, very good number 5. Let's be honest. Jacob DeGrom is going to get you 7 innings. He's going to get you 6+ strikeouts. He's going to get you 1 less earned run every game. 1 or less earned run every game. Every game. And that's what you should expect from him. And he's great, and that's what he does. And you know what? That's just how it is. You're going to get, if Jacob DeGrom is your 5th pitcher, and he's my 5th pitcher, you're going to have a pretty successful time this year in fantasy baseball. So yeah, definitely want to mention a couple sleepers here. Shane Bieber. Shane Bieber is a great ball player. I think he's going to grow. I think he's become a leader. He's going to become the Kluber of that clubhouse. He's going to take it over. I think he's great. I think he's going to stay great. And Luis Castillo. Now, I don't know if you guys kept track, but Luis Castillo, I want to say it was the year of 2017 at the end of the year when he came out of the minors, and he looked pretty good. And 2018, he struggled. And then there was last year. Wow. Talk about evolving. He evolved huge last year, and I expect huge, huge things from him this season. So, yeah, got to mention Mr. Luis Castillo. Now, finally is for relief pitchers. I'm going to give you 3. And I know a lot of leagues are not predicated on relief pitching, but, a good closer will save you. It'll get you out of some jams. No doubt. An extra 12 points every 3 days is great. So I'm going to go 3. I'm going to go 1, Josh Hader. Josh Hader's the best. Don't even think I need to say anything else. Number 2 is Aroldis Chapman. Chapman showed last year he's dominant and stays dominant. He's just a great ball player. And, number 3, I think I'm going to have to go with Lance Hendricks. He had a great year last year. He was outstanding. And I kind of expect him to continue his success. I don't see how he couldn't after what he did last year. So those are my top 3. And you definitely could look deeper. If you want to look deeper about guys who will give you, more length, I think Adam Ottavino should have a bounce-back year. Shane Green had a good beginning of the year, kind of fizzled out towards the end. And if you're looking for somebody to close games, Osuna, even though I don't like supporting, we're not going to talk about Osuna as a person, we're going to talk about him as a player. He's also a pretty valuable closer, so keep an eye on him. I think that's really it for relief pitchers. Alright, so thank you guys for watching this video. Comment below, you think I missed anything, things you see, things you like, things you don't like. Let me know. Comment below. Smack a like on this video. Hit the subscribe button. Check out our other videos. We're going to have draft content coming at you real soon for the NFL. More fantasy baseball. Whatever you guys want, you tell us. We'll produce it. Thank you for watching and have a great day.